Hi everybody and welcome to the Leading Edge Detailing YouTube channel. Biggest question we get asked all the time, and something that has a lot of misconceptions about it, is how do you wash matte paint and how do you maintain matte paint? And next to me is a beautiful AMG GT Black Series, which we're preparing for paint protection film and ceramic coatings, and obviously we have to wash it. So I thought it'll be a great opportunity to explain what we do when we're looking after matte paint, discussing a few of the things that you have to be careful of, and also debunking a myth that matte paint is harder to wash in a way than normal paint. So in terms of products, we use and recommend IGL Wash. It is the same product you use for gloss paint. As long as you use a product that's designed for washing cars and it doesn't have wax in there, you can use that same product on matte paint. We obviously have our two buckets for the 2-bucket wash method. We have snow foam and we have a wheel bucket. So in terms of the equipment you need, it is no different. What makes washing a matte car harder is you have to be more careful, because if you do get swirl marks, scratches or scuff marks, you can't polish them out. So the wash process is actually exactly the same as gloss paint. You just have to make sure you don't scratch the car, because if you get that scratch, you can't fix it. You can't polish it off. So we're going to wash this car with our viewers watching, and hopefully it gives confidence to owners of matte cars that they can wash it themselves at home. And then we're also going to talk about the things that you should not do with a matte car. So let's get stuck straight into it. Like any other wash, the process is focused on removing dirt off the car without scratching the car. So gentle approach, pressure wash from a reasonable distance away. Don't rub the dirt on the car if it's got dirt or particles on it. Make sure you remove them or at least loosen them with snow foam first. Let's get stuck straight into it. The things I also want to talk about, and it's not directly related to matte or gloss, is carbon ceramic brakes. In my opinion, I don't like to use an iron remover on them, although it's perfectly fine to use an iron remover on carbon ceramics. You shouldn't need to, because there is no iron, or maybe the brake pads might have some iron composite in them, but in terms of the disc and the pad, they don't generate the same type of brake dust as a normal car. And given that the discs are so expensive, I think a more cautious approach is better than going all out and using products. So we're going to just use IGL Wash for the wheels, and that's what I always do with carbon ceramic cars, because it will still clean the wheel without any risk. But again, you can still use an iron remover. I personally don't. Michael is rinsing the car down first before any snow foam. We do that to cool the paint down if the car is hot. Also to knock off the loose dirt, because we want the snow foam to remove whatever is on there that's stubborn. So if there's any loose dust, it's just good practice to rinse the car down first. After you have rinsed the car thoroughly, we will now snow foam it. You can use any good quality snow foam, as long as, again, it doesn't have any waxes in there. So after you have snow foamed, let it sit for a few minutes. Obviously this needs a little bit of common sense. If you're outside in the sun or if the car is piping hot, rinse it off before it dries, but let the snow foam do its thing. Let it sit for a few minutes to get all the dirt that's trapped loosened up. And then after you have let it sit for about 2 to 3 minutes, rinse it off thoroughly, and again, being very careful from the edges. The car has been rinsed down, all the foam is off, and that should hopefully knock off all the loose dirt that we can get off with snow foam. It's time to wash. For those who don't know what the 2-bucket wash method is, you basically have 2 buckets, one with soapy water, one with clean water. Ideally, both of them should have grit guards, and that means that any sediment that you pick up, which there shouldn't be any sediment, but if there is, it floats to the bottom, or sinks, sorry, not floats, to the bottom of the bucket. And In your soapy bucket, you should have 2 high quality or 1 high quality wash mitt. Make sure that you inspect it really well after every wash. Make sure there's no rocks or anything in there. If you drop it on the floor, I would just throw it in the bin. It's not worth saving $20 to scratch a car. So the 2 bucket wash method is really simple. Make sure that you have your wash concentrate in your soapy bucket. And then we're going to start from the top of the car, and we're going to go in straight lines to wash. That to me is good enough. Now, if you're sitting there and scrubbing it, there's a problem. You shouldn't have something on the car stuck that hard that needs to be scrubbed like that. Don't scrub things off. When you scrub things off, you're going to scratch your car. If you have bugs or something that are stuck on, maybe loosen them up with a little bit more snow foam or use some IGL bug or tar remover or something like that. Do not scrub something on the paint, especially matte paint, because you can't polish it off. So we start from the top of the car down. I'm going to record the next process and speed it up. Get Michael to help me out doing this. And you start from the top of the car, which should be the cleanest, to the dirtiest. So you're going to do the roof, the hood, the boot lid, the pillars, the windows, the doors, guards, and then the last thing you do is the front, back bumper, and side skirts in that order, because they tend to be the dirtiest parts. You don't want to wash the side skirt, then go straight to the roof. After you do the pass on the roof, or about half a panel at a time, once you believe that your wash mitt's dirty, go back to your rinse bucket, dunk your wash mitt into the rinse bucket, make sure you get all the dirt out before you go back again to your wash bucket. So all the dirt should get trapped into the rinse bucket before it goes back to the wash bucket. So then when you go back to the wash, you have a clean microfiber wash mitt to go back on the car, not a dirty one, because this water will eventually get full with dirt if the car's dirty enough. With the wheel washing, you need a separate bucket, again ideally with a grid guard, and these are called wheel woolies. So they're brushes with long handles and various sizes, and that helps you get in between the brake caliper and the disc. And then what I would also recommend is one of these wash mitt things, which allows you to really get in behind the spokes when you're washing a wheel. So it's very good to let you get behind and still clean the spoke. And also with this wheel, because it's got so many different crevices, it lets you get in really good. You can use a brush, but I find that the mitt does a better job on wheels. We do still use a brush, and as you will see in a minute, this is how we wash a wheel, and this is how we suggest you wash your wheels as well, is thoroughly. And the better job you do at cleaning your wheels, especially if they're ceramic coated, the longer your wheels are going to last looking amazing. So let's have a look. What size? Something medium. And as you can see, you can get in and clean the barrel really well with these brushes. And because they're plastic, they're not going to damage the wheel. At this stage, it's time to dry the car. You have three options with drying a car. The first option is to use microfiber cloths. Within that, there are two options. You can use a brand new cloth like this one, which is the Costco microfiber towels, which I would select with this because we like to always use new microfibers on every vehicle we detail. But you can also use one of those bigger drying towels. So if you have one of those big drying towels, they're also a great option, but you just got to make sure that it is going to be perfectly clean every time you use it. Not with any sediments or rocks in there, because that'll scratch your paint. The third option in drying the car is going to be blow drying it. And when you dry the car, it's the same process of washing it. So you dry it from the top down. So at this stage, you can use a paint sealant, or you could also use a instant detailer to top up your car, as long as it's not wax. So we would use iGel Enhancer or iGel Premier, which are both perfect options for a matte colored vehicle. Now that we have finished washing and drying the car, as you can tell, it is still perfectly matte / satin with no impact to the finish of the car. So when I first started detailing, I thought you had to buy different products for matte, and I ended up spending quite a lot of money on Dr. Beasley's products, for example, and I never used them because I realized quickly that most normal car washes that are of high quality and are of reputable brands are fine to be used with matte wraps and matte paint, especially for IGL. But there are a few things you need to be careful of with matte. First thing is you can use paint sealants or hybrid detailers like iGel Premier and iGel Enhancer. Do not use waxes. I do have a tub of Swiss wax that's designed for matte. I have never tried it. I don't think I'm going to be able to try it. Just in case, you know, imagine ruining this car. It's going to be very expensive to fix it. So definitely don't polish, don't wax, and don't clay matte cars. You can use iGel Enhancer, iGel Premier. You can have it ceramic coated, and you can also have it wrapped in matte PPF, which is what we're going to do. And then we're going to apply IGL Shield coating on top of the matte PPF where it is matte, and then we're going to put gloss PPF where it is gloss. So this is how you wash and maintain a matte vehicle. My opinion is definitely get it wrapped. That way the PPF will self-heal. You can wash it more comfortably and easily, and you can scrub the PPF, but don't take the risk and drive your beautiful matte car without putting some form of protection on there. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and please feel free to ask any questions if you have. Thank you.